Alright, welcome to my channel, guys. Sorry we had a little bit of a last-minute technical issue, but Jim is here helping me do the first live video from my Spanish kitchen. Say hi, Jim.
Hi, I'll be here and I'll be taking your questions.
So today what we're going to do is I'm going to make an easy risotto that you can do at home, and I'm also going to show you how to do it. Well, it's a little bit of a different way, so not necessarily a way or a method that you see mostly. This is a way that I learned more in London, England. So we're going to start, and you're all good, Jim? Everything? Okay. So first we're going to start. Now, before I did this video, I actually started with the chicken stock ahead of time to save a little bit of time, as today, as you can see, we've already had a few issues. And how I made the chicken stock basically is you clean the carcass and you just do the vegetables, or you cut the mirepoix, such as the carrots, onions, leeks, and celery, and then you saute all of this. You throw the carcass, either if you want a brown chicken stock, you throw this into the oven, you roast it, put that in the pot as well. Add a little bit of water to it, as well as seasoning, so star anise and what else? Black peppercorn and, well, any other thing that you want, as well as a little bit of salt. You reduce, you strain it, you can reduce again. And the thing is, or the trick is, the more bones that you have in it, the more gelatin it has in it, so it'll be more gelatinous, and then you'll have a thicker stock, also if you reduce it a little bit. So today, that's what I already did ahead of time. So now we're going to prep. Yes? We're good. Okay. All right. So first we're going to cut the shallots. Now I'm going to use shallots for more than one thing. I'm going to use them for where's a plate? One, I'm going to use them for the puree, and secondly, I'm also going to use it for the risotto. And when you get the little shallots, they do tend to be very, well, it takes a little bit of time to clean them and to peel everything off, as you can tell. If you have the option to get the large banana ones, get those instead, because one, they're a lot easier to peel, and it just saves a whole bunch of time.
Hey guys, this is Jim. If you got any questions, I'm monitoring the chat. Just drop me the question and I'll shout out James.
And then, as well, you can use onions as well if you want. You don't have to use shallots. It's not necessarily a must, but they do have a sweetness to them that really enhances the flavor of the sauce. And then, let's see. Okay, we're almost done.
We've got quite a lot of people here with us. We've got Nina's Nepali kitchen. We've got Ty, that's my son. we've got Elizabeth. We've got Miriam. We've got Melissa from One Hot Bite.
Oh, hey, Melissa.
We've got Taika.
Hey, guys.
WB. So, yeah, glad to have you with us.
All right, so first today, let's see if you can't see it in the camera. I'm just going to brunoise the shallots. It doesn't really matter when making, say, a puree, because we're going to blend everything. So you're just going to do a simple like julienne, to more or less like this. Now for the risotto, I'm going to brunoise. So first, let's just cut these off for the puree. And let's see.
Taika says, I've been waiting for this for so long. Happy to be here and to see you on live.
Oh, thank you. So have I. Today has already been a bit of a long day trying to get prepped and ready for the video. A lot more prep goes into it than you think.
A lot more prep.
A lot of prep.
Right, we've got a super chat from Michelle. That's your mother, yes?
See, that's my mum.
Hi, James's mum.
Hi, Mum. How are you doing? All right, so first for the puree, I'm just going to saute the shallots. A little bit of oil. And since I'm using an induction, it'll heat up extremely fast, so that's not a problem. I actually prefer using I prefer gas instead of induction, although it is nice to have a induction because this does make things like cook really, really, really fast. So if you ever have a stock or a sauce that you want to reduce quickly, you can use the induction. Then again, when you have an induction, you have to use a pan that's specifically made for it because it's a magnetic, well, it has to have the magnetic connection. Otherwise, if it doesn't, it's not going to work if you just put a normal pot on it. So this is, again, another reason why I like gas, because it's a lot easier to use. Okay, so when the oil comes up to temp, more or less, shallots in. You're going to cook these until they turn more or less translucent. And while that's cooking, I'm going to cut the mushrooms. Now, one thing about the mushrooms, if they're a little dirty, you need to clean them. This is a must. This is an important thing. And since you're making a puree, it's not necessarily important that the mushrooms are the same size. This is a part where you can actually, just practice chopping, slicing, anything that you want. And let's see.
Hey Melissa, I don't think you want to see the behind the scenes because it'd be rather unprofessional to see me and James running around like headless chickens.
No, today, no, maybe another time when we have everything, but today was a little chaotic.
Oh, we've also got Christopher Donald. He says hello.
Oh, hey, Chris.
And Maureen Saute. That sounds a familiar name.
Oh, hello, Maureen.
That's my mother. Can you give me a thumbs up, everybody, if the sound is good and the picture is good and we're all okay? That'd be a lot of help. And I'll just say, while James is chopping his mushrooms, if you're enjoying this and you like it and you like the quality of this, remember to smash that thumbs up button, because that really, really helps out, and it helps YouTube promote this content out as well. So yeah, that'd be a great help. You know what they say, like, share, subscribe.
Almost done, Jim. Okay, so so more or less, once you have the mushrooms chopped, I'm going to add a few more anyway. You can add a little bit of salt to cook with. It'll help break them down a little faster. And then, let's see. It's going to... Oh, thank you. Oh, really? Oh, thank you, Mom.
She's your number one fan as well.
Oh, yes, she is. She watches all my videos.
Thank you, Michelle. You must be an amazing mother to have made James, right?
Oh, thank you. All right, so since it's getting a little, this isn't an American kitchen, so in here the smoke stays in the house a little bit.
Don't worry about it.
So, I'm sorry, but I have to turn on the hood. You want to cook the mushrooms down, yeah? And this will go, like I said, much faster when you're using the induction. And this will cook for the next 3 to 4 minutes, more or less. They have to really cook and reduce. Now, you have an option to add a little bit of wine if you want. It depends if you want or not. I'm going to add it anyway to the risotto, so for me, it's not that important. However, I am going to add a little bit of thyme. And I don't have fresh, and if you don't have fresh, use dried. Like I said, as always, if you can't find something, you have to substitute. Right, so that's going to sit and that's going to cook for a few more minutes. And as you can tell now, the mushrooms have started releasing.
Right now. Smells so good.
Yeah, the mushrooms have started releasing the water. So now they're starting to cook more. So when they start to brown a little bit, because you want a little bit of color with the sauce, otherwise it's going to be like a grayish type puree. This is the point, well, you can taste that we're going to add a little bit of butter, a little bit of cream, blitz it, done. Then we're going to work on sauteing the rest of the mushrooms for the garnish. And then we're going to work on the risotto.
Okay. I've got a question for you while you're there.
Yeah.
Christopher Donald says, James, you said it's very important to clean the mushrooms. Can you explain why and how clean do they need to be?
Yeah, buddy. Well, all right. So normally when you go, I'll just have to keep an eye on these. So normally when you get a box of mushrooms at the market, if they typically like button mushrooms, the white ones, like these little ones here, if they have a lot of dirt on them or, you know, black pieces of dirt, either one, you want to brush it off or rinse it very quickly under some cold running water and then pat them dry, one or the other. Because in the fields, when the workers are picking where the machines are, they don't have, well, they're not going to wash the mushrooms for you because the mushroom is like a sponge. So if they clean it then and there, it's just going to soak up even more water because right now the mushrooms are releasing all the extra water that they have in them.
Keep the questions coming, guys. He loves it.
It helps me to think of what I'm going to say, doesn't it? Aye, so like I said, guys, so this will take like, you know, about 5 minutes for me on the induction. Depends on your pot that you're cooking in, and again, it depends on, well, it depends on how fast you want this to go. I'm going to take it a little slower today because I have more than one thing going on. I have like 3 cameras to look at and I can't trip any of them because it's very easy for me to do this. So I'm going to take it a little slower. I'm going to make the puree now. I'll finish that in a minute. And now, while that's cooking, we're going to work on sauteing some of the other mushrooms. So now, as you can tell with the oyster mushrooms, these are clean, that's fine, but we're not going to cook them like this. What you're going to do is you're going to break them apart, pull them apart just like this into decent sized portions because we're going to use these for the garnish a little later on. And you don't need many, just for like 1 plate. So I'm just going to break these up.
1 plate? You mean we're not eating tonight?
No, we're eating. We are, but...
You're right, Melissa. Mums are the best. And
so
we have my mother and James's mother in the chat today.
Oh, yeah?
So say hello to all the mums.
Hi, mums. Okay, so. No, I do too. I like chanterelles too, but they're a little, they're expensive, chanterelle mushrooms. Right, so you can see better in the camera. Let's see. All right, the mushroom puree, this, vale. All right, now for the button mushrooms, the garnish that I'm going to use for these, I'm just going to take the bottom off, the little root, and I'm just going to quarter these. Oh no, halve them, halves. And normally in the kitchen when you're cooking, we have to sort these into the large and small pieces because otherwise, well, we use this a lot for garnish normally in the kitchen. So, again, when the pan comes up to temp, let's see, 1 moment. Jim, can you pass me the butter? Yes, in the fridge. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit, whoops, gets a little hot, a little bit of oil to the pan. Thank you. Oh, no, there's already cut.
Ah, okay.
The cut butter.
The cut butter.
See?
Ah, yes.
Thank you.
That's the way Pro's doing it.
Yeah, well, it helps.
What type of mushrooms are the best for risotto, Miriam says?
Well, if you can get like chanterelles, those are good, but typically we use button mushrooms as well as, well, oyster mushrooms. I'm using a little shiitake as well today. But like I said, if you can get like some nice chanterelles, it's fantastic.
Do like some of the mushrooms have like a more earthier or kind of meatier taste than others?
Yeah. No, I mean, even morels are nice if you can get those, but those are extremely, per kilo, those are very, very pricey.
Nina says enjoying here.
Oh, I'm glad. It's a little different for me because I'm not used to doing a, live video because normally I'm, like I said, recording and looking into the camera, moving the camera and doing it all over again. No? Oops.
I'll try and fix that.
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, when the oil comes up to temp, you're just going to add oil is hot, because if the oil is not hot, they'll just absorb like a sponge all the oil. Now let that cook. Now this is one of two methods of making this. One, you can saute with a little bit of oil, salt, as always. Second, we can use a little bit of butter. So I'm going to first saute these in oil, add a little bit of salt, get another plate because I'm going to need it.
Cooking with Guy says, "What's up, James?"
Hey, how's everybody doing? So normally, if anybody has worked in the professional kitchen knows, normally you don't have just like one or two things on the stove. You have everything on, especially when you're busy and you're running. All right, so see the nice color that these are now? They're turning at that nice brown. That's what we want. Okay. And the mushrooms are done for the sauce, or for the puree. So, all right. Does anyone have any questions, comments, anything?
Well, Mother said this is a better way to teach cooking. Awesome job to both of you.
Oh, thank you.
Says, do you guys think using dried mushrooms and rehydrating them is as good as using fresh for risotto?
No, you can. It depends on what you have. If you're going to make a puree, like I'm making, it's best to use the fresh, obviously, because then they're fresh. But if you're going to use some for garnish, then, what are they called? I forget the name in English, actually. I remember it in Spanish. The death mushrooms, the black.
Trompetas.
Sí.
Yeah, death cat mushrooms.
Sí.
Here in Spain, we call them trompetas de la muerte.
Sí. Typically, those will be dry when you get them, and you have to rehydrate them.
And they make a good stock as well with the leftover water from those black mushrooms. It makes a really good mushroom stock at the same time.
Yes, it does. It adds a lot of flavor to it. I use mushrooms in almost like every meal, literally. Mushrooms, shallots, and thyme as well.
Mommy and Little Chefs also says hello.
Oh, hello. So guys, I'm sorry if it's a little late for some of you, but thank you for coming to the channel today. Seriously, it means a lot to me because normally this is like, this is the first live video. How many people are going to show up? And you never know, but thank you very much. Okay, so when you see the mushrooms start to get this color on them, this is a little burnt, that's fine. But they get this amount of color on them, yes? You can let them cook just a little longer. The longer you let them cook, the more moisture they're going to release. The more moisture they release, the more they shrink. The more they shrink, the smaller they are, and then again, the more you have to use for anything. So, right now, when you can take the spatula and they're still a little spongy, yeah? You can leave them like this because they're going to continue to release the juices or the water while they're cooling. So, these I'm going to put on a little bowl with a little bit of paper just to dry them off.
Anu says, great live, chef.
Oh, thank you very much. I couldn't have done it without Jim's help.
Nah.
Seriously. No, seriously. Okay, what am I going to do now? Right, all right, so second method. You're going to put a little bit of butter in the pan. Smoking, too hot. A little more butter. Okie dokie. Right, now I'm going to saute these face down first. Whoops. Okay. I still don't really know the temperature for the numbers on this induction. All right, let that cook. Get a little, oops. Little bit of parsley. Right, so while these are cooking with butter, normally when you're cooking with butter with the mushrooms, you constantly add just a little bit of butter to the pan. This helps keep a constant temperature for the pan instead of overheating. This is the other method of learning. And then once you have a nice sear on the flat side of the mushroom, like this, you can turn them, yeah, and get a little more color on the other sides as well. And since I cut the cubes of butter up so small, like teeny, yeah, it's easy to keep putting it in. Now, to finish this, because these mushrooms will be done in like another minute or so. Whoops. Okay, the stock.
I have a question from Taika. It
Yeah?
says, how much butter do I have to use for a risotto?
As much as you like. Now you put like a little bit in. You don't want to burn the butter. If it's a little too hot, take it off the heat and just leave it. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of parsley. I'm just going to roll it into a little ball, just like this, and I'm going to cut. Yeah? Just a little bit. Now.
Kamarkar's Kitchen says, hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you, Jim? Doing good?
Not me. That's Kamarkar's Kitchen said, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, I don't do that. I don't know why he's doing that. I don't know if it's a light.
Right. Gonna saute it.
Sorry about that with the camera there. I'll try and fix things as we go. It is our first live, after all.
No, the first one we try to fix all the little errors that we make, and so next time it's a little better. Well, guys, I thank you again for watching. Seriously, thank you, because this past year it's been, slowly going up, slowly, a little more to the channel, and there have been some like good videos that people have liked, and I really appreciate all the help and support that I've received. Very. Right, so the mushrooms are cooking, almost done. Right, so now gonna a little bit of salt again. And now we're going to add a little bit of parsley. Turn them. If you have a little too much butter, that's okay. You're going to take the spoon. Again, you're just going to put this onto a little paper towel, because this will collect all the water and everything else that you don't want. Now we're going to leave these off to the side.
Chris says one of the biggest issues he has while cooking is keeping track of everything. How would you recommend managing timing?
Well, normally when we are cooking in like the professional kitchen, you have your list of things that you have to make, and mentally you know that it's going to be like a 5-minute job, 2-minute job, 3-minute job, 4-minute job, etc., etc. So the biggest thing is the thing that we use in the kitchen, normally you can't have a watch on, and this isn't allowed because of the health reasons. So you have to run, basically, the best thing, professionally, I'm speaking. In the house, you need to think to yourself like, okay, well, you have a risotto. Well, you know that it takes, about 25 minutes to make the rice, to cook, to saute everything and cook it. And then if you're going to do anything else, it's going to take another, maybe 10, 15 minutes. So you need to give yourself, and especially if you don't know how to cut well, or if you're not very familiar with cooking, you have to give yourself a little more time to make it. So the amount of time for me to make something could be, say, a lot faster than for, say, like my mom, for example, in that she's not going to be running to make something. And you have to try to manage it. Try. So,
City Foodie Farm says hi.
oh, hello, guys.
Coming in now, yeah?
Seriously?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, muy bien, eh? Muy bien. Right, so. All right, so the mushrooms have cooked, yes? As you can see, more or less, they're all done, right? So now we're going to heat this up, otherwise it won't emulsify. And I need the heavy cream.
Very heavy cream.
Yeah, that very heavy cream, which I've watered down. All right, so now I'm just going to, whoops. Yeah, this is what I mean.
Are you okay?
No, I knocked the camera. That's fine. All right, so to blend the puree, I'm going to use the hand blender. In the induction here, you can turn it off. I'm going to add a little bit of butter, just a bit. I'm going to add a little bit of cream. I'm going to take the spatula out as well. And I'm going to hold at an angle and blend. Now, ideally, you want like a Thermomix or like a Vitamix to actually do this, not a hand blender, but at the moment, we're currently moving, so we don't have everything with us. Because the hand blender is not going to give you that texture that, there we go, that you can get with, say, a Thermomix, because a Thermomix has, I think, what is it, 3,000 revolutions per second or something like that. So it's fast. It's very fast.
Nice close-up of your back there.
Pardon?
Nice close-up shot of your back there.
Yeah.
Just checking that the camera's still okay.
Whenever a puree is a little thick, if you need to, add a little bit of water to it.
We have a few watching from the United States right now. Yeah, we've got
Do we?
obviously we've got your mum there, and we had Melissa. She's from Utah, from if I remember rightly.
So sorry guys, forgive me. Normally, like I said, this is something that's hard for me. When I'm cooking professionally, when I cook, I cook. I focus just on the food. So if I go quiet for a little bit, forgive me, yeah, because it's me just focusing purely on the food.
But if he goes quiet, just drop in the questions and I'll keep throwing them out to him, yeah?
So the other thing is, when you're blending anything, if you have a big pan, you can hold it at a bit of an angle so all the sauce goes to one side and just blend. The other thing, like I said, you want it to the consistency that you want. Now, right. Whoops. See? Oh, no, sorry. All right, so more or less, like I said, this is not, the consistency that you want is actually a little smoother than this. This is not a good consistency. Because normally, you shouldn't see any little spots. And you have spots because this, again, well, one is because of the mushrooms, but two is also because that we don't have a good enough blender right now. So, give it a taste. It's good. Yeah.
Cooking with this guy
Yummy.
says he loves a good risotto.
So do I. Okie dokie. So, put this into a smaller pan. All right, so we have one done already. The puree is done. Oh, no, sorry, two. Three. Now, all right, so the chicken stock's done. That's finished. The puree is done. That's finished too. And so is the garnish. That's also done. So now we're going to make the risotto. And Jim, if you want, you can take over for a sec.
Well, I haven't got my camera set up. I was going to have a camera. I haven't got my camera set up. I was going to have a camera, but I took it down at the last moment because we had so many things. Like in this kitchen today, I took my camera down at the last moment. But yeah, I'm here. I'm in the chat. If you want to ask any questions, I can answer some of them myself. I can throw them out to James. But yeah, just keep the questions coming. We love it. We love the interactivity. And remember, if you're enjoying this, smash that thumbs up button. It's the only way that we can get the YouTube algorithm to see that we're here and this is what we're doing, and so that we can keep bringing more of this out to you guys.
The other thing is, guys, one important thing that not a lot of people tell you is that when you work, you do want to, okay, in the house it's a little different, but when you work professionally, you have to constantly clean and organize, and it becomes a habit. If it wasn't a habit before, it does become a habit after a while. So you will also see me in real life, not in the videos, wiping everything down constantly, trying to keep everything neat, nice and neat. So, okay, let's see, voila.
We've got Leonie from Morocco.
Oh, really?
Thanks for sharing how to cook risotto. I like watching here from Morocco.
Oh, well, welcome. Thank you for watching.
It's the great thing about YouTube. They're from all over the world, all at the same time.
You know, it is. Because it's still a little weird, though, for me. It's like, well, people are on this side of the world, and then on the other side of the world already, my family and everybody else. It's like, it's different.
I hear you. The Recipes Hub says, Assalamu alaikum, dear brother.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to cut a few more shallots, and then we're good to go. Oops. These little shallots. Come here.
Kamal Carr's Kitchen says she's watching from New York as well.
Oh, really?
And Leonie says she's from the Philippines, but living in Marrakesh, Morocco.
Huh.
And my young boy, Ty, well, not my young boy, my oldest son.
Yeah?
Yeah. He says that only seems like a positive habit, to be like cleaning up as you're going, yeah?
Yeah, it can be, but I'll tell you. I'll tell you what, it does. It minimizes the amount of work that you have to do afterwards.
There's another interesting guy just dropped into the chat right now. His name is Jim Mackinson.
Yeah?
Hi, James. Jim, Senior Dad.
Oh, hi, Dad.
Hey.
Huh? Well, next time I'm on the main one, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but Dad, seriously, next time you need to come on and help me, and I know you don't like it, but still, you should, because you have like a lot more experience than me as well. You've been cooking for a lot longer and in a lot more places than I have. So when I'm back home, we need to do something together.
And if you want to see what James's dad looks like, if you watch the welcome video at the start of James's YouTube channel, you'll see quite an old clip. What, 1996?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's the funny thing. I googled my dad's name, and a clip came up from, what was it? The Louisiana something's. I forget. Yeah, but the TV program. It looked like PBS, but it wasn't. It was another one. And I found the clips when he was being interviewed at Los Ventana Canyon. It's amazing. You can tell the difference too in the film quality back then. Yeah. My goodness. Yeah. Okay, so I'm prepping. Oh, are you on? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, let's see. The camera can't really see me like that, Valley. So brunoise. I've done. If you want to see a video on how to cut onions, shallots, and everything else, well. After the video's finished, I can leave a link, but Anyway, I have a video about cutting shallots and onions, which is a very good video if you want to check it out. So
I learned to cook onions watching your videos, by the way.
Did
so
you?
yeah, so I'm a lot better at cutting my onions now, thanks to you.
yeah, but the only problem is that cutting an onion or shallot and watching it on TV still isn't the same way as learning it from somebody in person. So shallot, little onion. I'm going to take my little well, not little fingers. I'm going to take my fingers just like this, make a little claw, the tip of the knife, and I'm just going to go up and down. Yeah. And I'm going to cut this a lot smaller, but like a lot smaller than the rice, because I don't want this to be noticeable at all. So if you have a bit of difficulty using a chef's knife, you can use a Puree knife and do this as well. And when you're cutting, it's important to remember that your knife is sharp. This is important because if you cut and you're just smashing the shallot, it's a better chance that you're going to put or exert too much force and you're going to cut yourself.
I think that's a really important thing, is like, in a lot of videos I've watched where they teach you how to cut vegetables and things like that, they don't really talk about the importance of the knife or the size of the knife, or being comfortable with your knife and all that kind of thing.
No, but this is the thing. Personally, I use this Wusthof 8-inch chef's knife I've used in every kitchen in Europe. Every single kitchen. It's my knife. It's a perfect knife in my hands. It's balanced. I hold it. It's perfect. Some people, if your hands are a little smaller, okay, especially at home, you want to use maybe a 6-inch. But if you want to work professionally in the kitchen, you will only find typically is an 8-inch or a 10-inch. You will never, hardly ever, find a 6-inch chef's knife. Hardly ever. And then, of course, you have the other knives, your bread knife, your Puree knife, your utility knife, your fillet knife. God, you have like a lot of knives, yeah? And yeah, I have all these knives, but the thing is, the one that I use is the ultimate utility knife, is your chef's knife. You can fillet fish with it, you can cut shallots, onions, I can not open a can. You don't want to damage it, but you can if you need. All right, so I'm gonna insert a little side slice, and you can do 2 or 3 at a time because this speeds it up. And then of course I'm going to take 2 because otherwise it's too slow. You're just going to do this rocking motion like I said in that video. It's just like a little piston on a train, yeah? You're going to cut the shallots, and every time you slice you're going to go a little to the left or right if you're left or right handed, yeah? And you see how small these little pieces are. Now, if they're not small enough, you can go back through and chop it. That's fine. The most important thing when you're making like a risotto is that you don't want big chunks of shallots and you don't want big chunks of like onions or anything else, because it's a risotto. When you make a risotto, it's supposed to be like, well, it's a nice risotto. And we had a lot of Italians when I was working in London. And yeah, okay, everyone makes a risotto a little differently, because in London we also used to put mascarpone in it. And again, this is something that I don't put because it's just to thicken it. But, you know.
Christopher says, James, could you do a knife cutting skills video? I mean, you do cover a lot of your knife cutting skills in your onion video, yeah? So if you watch the onion video, there's a lot covered in there.
Yeah, well, no, like Chris, the thing is, I can do it. And after we do this move, I think I will. But I kind of need, maybe that should be a live video instead. Instead of a recorded.
We've got Ginny Tonica in the chat now. She's somebody that I know from streaming on Twitch.
Oh, really?
Veronica, she's from Germany.
Huh. My goodness, we have people from almost all over Europe as well.
All over. Good to see you, Ginny.
All right, so finish the shallots up because I'm taking too much time. So, like I said, just go through them. Oh, another thing. One thing about the cutting board. Right, so typically I have like my little wood cutting board, all right? And that's fine because, you know, it's okay. But in the US, typically, it's not good to use wood, and we can't technically in the kitchens. You have to use plastic only. And the reason why is because the wood is porous, so it actually it helps the growth of bacteria such as Salmonella and E. coli when you're cutting meat or fish. So you can't really mix. This isn't a good thing. So we have to use plastic. The thing about plastic ones is if you get a cheap plastic one, actually I think I have one. Yeah. Sorry for the sound. So when you get a cheap plastic one like this, it's cheap. It's usable. I use it when I have to, when I'm in need to use it. But if you notice that when you start slicing, when your knife is sharp, or like mine, there'll be little bits of plastic that come off of it, and you eat this. So this is just one thing to keep in mind. This plastic, the one that I'm cutting on, is specifically for its restaurant quality, and it's actually a little too small for me. But this is, it's also a little thick. This is a Spanish cutting board, but it has little rubber pads on the bottom, which I'll show you in a second. So it has these little pads, if you can see that. Yeah, too high, right. Well, after I dump the shallots. Right, so, okay. For the risotto, oil in the pan. Whoops, first off. What? See or no? Oh, see? Hola? Okay, no problem. Okay, so, hot pan. A little bit of oil in the pan. Olive oil, a little more. Whoops. Okay. That's about good. Right, so we have our hot sauce, puree, and pan for the risotto. And we have a little bit of garnish over here. So, whoops, where did I put that? Right, well, anyway. Once the oil comes up to temp, not too hot because you don't want the shallots to burn, you're just going to put the shallots in. Okay, and now you can see these little rubber pads. Yeah, you see? So this doesn't, it still slides a little bit, but not that much. And if you don't have this, well, take a little rag or a little chef cloth, get it wet, put it underneath, just so it doesn't move. Because if this is moving while you're cutting something very small with a knife this big, you can easily cut your finger. And sometimes you can cut them off too. My dad had one accident in his life, a very serious one at work. All right, so we're now at the beginning stage of the risotto. So before the risotto starts, you want to measure the amount of rice out. I have about 120 grams in this bowl of Arborio rice. You want to measure it out and have it ready, and instead of running around at the last minute, running, and well, if you know, it's just better to be organized. But then again, I do run a lot. This is true. Sometimes you forget. This happens to everybody. Right, so you're just going to cook the shallots until they turn clear. You can add a little bit of salt right now. Not too much, because we'll finish the risotto and we'll balance it at the end. But right now, a little bit of salt to help flavor the shallots. Let them cook. The other thing, that's dirty. The other thing is that this spoon is specifically for making the risotto. Yeah? This is a spoon that, well, they say in the kitchen that this won't break the rice when you're moving it. And this is an important thing. I used to get yelled at because I would always have a spoon on me. I always had this spoon. And I would always use it to make the risotto because I'm running around too much. And I didn't have enough space in my station for this spoon because it's big. And I used to always get yelled at in London for not using this risotto spoon. But yeah, it works a lot better. But still, if you're in a pinch, you can use the normal spoon. It's okay, especially if you have to make a quick risotto. But that's how it is. The other thing is that we also, normally, when you go to a restaurant, they don't typically make the risotto from scratch. If they do, this is more authentic. They typically parboil the rice beforehand, dry it, and that way you have it ready. So then you can make a risotto in like 3 to 5 minutes, more or less. So, You do not want the shallots to brown. This is important, just clear. Once the shallots are more or less, let's see, can the camera see? More or less like this. They still have a little bit of color, but more or less like this. Now we're going to add the rice. Add the rice in. And you can tell that this rice, arborio, it has starch, no? So we want to, well, not necessarily fry the rice, but like the paella, you want to like saute a little bit to warm the rice up. For me, it's at least warming the rice, because if it's cold, well, it's not necessarily cold, but if it's cold, you add cold stock, you add everything that's cold, it's going to take longer to make, and then it's not going to be as fast. So let this cook for at least another minute or so. Just occasionally stir it.
If you're enjoying the stream, remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed.
So guys, we're changing cameras, huh? Yeah. So we're still getting a feel for it. Well, I hope you're enjoying. Again, next time we'll be a little more punctual, like I said, because this time today, well, we were setting up for like what, since 12 o'clock, literally almost 5 hours setting up. The camera's going to go there. No, the camera's going to go there. It's good there. The power now. I have to go get another cable. Now we have cables running here, there. I had to move my computer into the kitchen.
Mark Kitchen says, how are you managing camera angles during live?
Well,
more than one camera setup,
yeah, more than one. All right, so okay, so whoops, sorry, Jim. So, right.
Ty says, would you rinse the starch off the rice before cooking?
Not the risotto, not the arborio. No. That's no. This is important. All right, I'm going to take this off the heat because I have to open the wine. Let that cook, and while I'm opening the wine, I'll talk to you. So, arborio, when you cook something like, let's say, when you're cooking jasmine rice has a lot of starch in it. A lot. You have to wash it. This is very important. Very important. Several times. But when you're using arborio, this is a no-no. Always. You never do that. You need the starch to then help, well, amalgamate or emulsify the mix. Because if you don't emulsify it, then your risotto is not going to be creamy. And this is another thing. Some people don't like it, say, as creamy. Others do. It all depends on your taste. But you don't wash arborio rice. Basmati you can if you want, but I don't. I have a good recipe for basmati too. That's a dry basmati that'll stay for...
Can you use the same principle with bomba for paella? You don't
No, yeah, no rinsing. That's a big no-no for Spanish rice too. Right, so rice is hot. Let this come up to temp again. This is a good thing about using an induction. The only bad thing is that I have this, like, what is it? I keep thinking in Spanish. So I have una manía, no? I have the, the habit of shaking a pan or moving it. And I can't because this is a glass top. Again, this is a force of habit. So I always I have to stop myself from doing that. So, it starts to, you hear that little sizzle sizzle? Now you add the wine. And you can add as much wine as you want. I typically add for about 100 grams, more or less half a cup, more or less. Now, if you are going to parboil the rice, then from the moment that you add the wine, from the moment the wine touches the pan, you put a timer on for 10 minutes, and once that's done, the timer, that's finished, you can add a little bit of stock, just a little. Then that's done. You could take the rice out, lay it flat onto a tray, and then put that in the fridge. And that's if you want to parboil the rice for later on, so like tomorrow, after tomorrow, etc., etc. If you want to keep cooking, and like continue cooking, just keep cooking. That's it. So once the rice reduces, it'll start to develop the stickiness because rice reduces. When the wine reduces, it'll start to develop the stickiness because it has a lot of sugar. and because we're using sweet wine. So once it reduces, you add a little bit of stock, and this is the cooking process. This is the start of the cooking process. So now, for the next 20 minutes, I have to try to come up with something. Otherwise, it's going to be a boring show because risotto is constantly stirring. This is important.
Tiger wants to know, is it always white wine that you use?
Yeah, it is always white wine. Now, funny though, is that I remember a day in Lyon when we had banquets going on and I had to make risotto, and my sous chef, Southian, by accident, he took a bottle of red wine, yeah, by accident, and he did the same thing right now. And he used just a little bit, he used a cup for so many grams, and he about had a heart attack. He was like, it's like, and it's no, because if you do use red by accident, it's not a problem, especially if you're going to make, say, a darker risotto. It's not a problem. You can pretend that it didn't happen. But when you're making a white risotto, like, say, a garlic risotto, which I have to make sometime, that's very important. Yeah, because the color will show up a little bit. So, after the rice comes to more or less this consistency, it's reduced, as you can tell. It's starting to cook. Now, let's see. The stock is hot. Just keep it warm. Now I'm going to add a little bit of stock. And I browned the chicken a lot with this stock. As you can tell, it's very dark. I'm just going to add a little at a time. And it's just going to cook. So this is the point, because I have a lot of flavor in the stock. I also salted it, and that's why we don't want to add salt yet. We added a little, but not too much, because it's going to, well, the other things will add to the mix.
Would you be able to talk through the stock video if I play it while you're doing that?
See?
I've got the video queued up, yeah? Can you do both at the same time? Yeah?
See, well, wait a minute. Let me...
Okay, James prepared a little clip of like making the stock that he made in advance, and we can show you that clip, and he can just talk you through the process that he went through while we play that too.
Yeah. See, I think I have to see it though.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, brown the chicken. Yeah, you're going to cut all the mirepoix and the celery, and then the carrots as well as the onions. You're going to get it in the pan, and you want to saute everything. Yeah, you want to have a little bit of color on this. If you're making a brown stock, I threw some herbs in, added some purified water, as well as the carcass, and then you just cook this literally for about, well, you cook this until the bones fall off. And as well, if you want to darken it, you use onion skin because they are used as a dye. Cook this for about 2 hours, sieve it, then you're going to put it in the fridge to collect all the fat, because the fat will rise to the surface, and that's it. It's simple. A homemade stock is very, very good because, one, you're saving money when you buy a whole chicken, and two, well, you can add more flavor to it than the normal stock that you buy from, say, the grocery store. Now, the important thing, whoops, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the important thing, though, when you make the riso, is to continuously move it. Just continuously. And as this is cooking, I'm going to add just a little more stock.
Taika says, little question please, how much does it take the rice to cook for a risotto?
Well, how much stock?
I guess so. I mean, yeah.
How much stock? Yeah.
It's not a matter of time as much as like.
No, it's not necessarily a mass. Well, yeah, the amount.
Just one sec.
The amount could be more. Well, it depends. When you're using bomba rice, it's like a 3-to-1 ratio. Risotto, more or less 2 or 3. But again, it depends on, well, how much rice that you're using. But yeah, about 2 or 3 times the amount of rice to stock for arborio. But then, well, then you also have to count or take into account the amount of wine that you add. Because I could add the bottle of wine. For me, it'll add a lot of sweetness, a little too much. But if you add more wine, you have to adjust for the levels of stock. Right, so as this is cooking away, if anybody has any questions or comments, now is the perfect time because I have to just periodically move the rice.
Yeah, we love your questions, guys. Keep them coming, and we're happy to answer them. Yeah.
Aye.
We haven't got any more.
No, everybody's watching.
Your mom said the audio is great. We got Salidas Dalu says boa tarde, amigo.
Gracias a todos.
Gracias. Sí.
No, muchas gracias.
And Easy Peasy Delicacy, somebody we like to watch on YouTube. She says it looks yum.
Oh, thank you. Well, we haven't finished yet.
I think that's because like I'm on one mic and James is on the other mic. So when I switch my mic on, you'll probably get a little bit of dual audio if we're talking at the same time. But that's why I switch my mic off when I'm not talking, so you don't get that. So I don't think there's much I can do to get around that at the moment.
Maybe not. Right. So right now is the boring moment for the risotto. It's like very boring. Just keep adding a little bit of stock periodically to the rice. Oh, thank you guys. So for the next, sorry, Jim. For the next time that we do this, well, I have to come up with something else. Risotto is easy because at least this allows me to have a little bit of time to speak now. Because, you know, whoops, it's going a little too fast. But next time we'll come up with I don't know, we'll make like a nice dinner if we can, or maybe breakfast as well. So I'll send, when we're ready to do the next live video, I'll send a little post beforehand to give you guys a few options to see what you want. Again, it'll be something easy, but it'll be something that, well, you can either have breakfast, dinner, or maybe lunch, I don't know, give the option. Either that, or I can also do another, well, not a cooking video so much as a technique video. That would be cool too. See?
Yeah.
Okay.
Checking the
Right, so...
But yeah, it's like great if you guys have any feedback and things that you'd like to see in future videos. It's always great. Like when we did the collaboration video, we said at that, if you want us to see us do anything like that, drop it down in the comments section, like either while we're live or post live. You can still go and like leave a comment, you know. There's all kinds of different cuisine. James has been like all around the world, from America, France, and here in Spain, and London. So
London too, eh?
Yeah.
No, London. No, London, I learned a lot in London. I did, I have to admit. And the next time I go back, I want to see all my friends that I still have in London, still working at Brynner's Tavern. Then I still have friends working in Lyon at the casino that I worked at, which the casino that I worked at had a Michelin star restaurant, and the banquet kitchen was with the Michelin star restaurant. So we had a team of 3, and then they had the Michelin star team as well. And we worked, I used to do a lot of mise en place and work for them. And then when we needed their help, they used to help us, because we would have banquets of literally 1,000 people going. There's 3 of us that made everything from scratch, 3, and it was French cuisine as well. So we're talking about a lot of work and a lot of detail. So no, that was fun. And then of course here in Barcelona, I think a lot of my friends are still working right now with the whole situation. It's been a little hard for everybody, and well, I wish them the best, because right now it has been very difficult in Barcelona because it's normally full of tourists. And this past year, you can tell that it's completely changed.
Your dad's a Londoner, yeah? Your dad's an old London boy? So some of that must have come through at home, yeah?
Yeah.
Some of that British cooking must have come through from your dad, yeah?
Yeah, well, no, my dad studied, he learned at the Dorchester, so he was taught all French cuisine, but like French cuisine, high cuisine. So that was the day that he had to do 6 months of, say, like garnish, 6 months of the butchery, 6 months in the fish, being a fishmonger, working with a fishmonger. But that was the old days when you had to go through like apprenticeships and you had to work. Now you have to go to school and you have to pay a lot of money to go to school to then work for a normal wage. So, no, yes, definitely, if you want to work in the kitchen, it's definitely a passion that you have to do.
Does your dad make a good mean fish and chips, though?
Oh, yeah, no, he likes fish and chips. See, he does. See. But typically at home, we normally have like a roast.
Yeah?
Oh, we have lots of roasts.
Like a
Sunday roast. Sunday roast. I mean, you don't have the Yorkshire puddings because that's, but yeah, we do. Chicken, Brussels sprouts, parsnips, carrots, all the veg.
I don't know if my mother's still in the chat or not, but she's like a big fan of the Yorkshire puddings, even though...
Oh, me too.
I'm not a big fan of the Yorkshire puddings. In the UK, it's a funny thing because you can use the Yorkshire pudding as a dessert as well as a...
See.
It's like a pancake, basically, yeah?
See, it is.
So like my dad always liked to have the Yorkshire pudding after the main course,
Yeah.
or an extra one made and put aside after the dinner, and he puts some milk on it or some syrup or some jam, and actually have like a Yorkshire pudding as a pudding. Yeah. So it's like,
well, no, the Yorkshire puddings, if I remember correctly, the Yorkshire puddings used to be, they developed from the drippings.
yes, use the drippings.
They used to use the drippings
Yes.
from the meat,
Yes.
from the actual
and
roast.
it really developed that flavour.
Yeah, no, it does, huh? The guy that made the best Yorkshire puddings in Bernard's Tavern was our guy from Valencia.
All right.
So, the Spaniard.
Wow.
No, he would make the perfect Yorkshire puddings. They would be this
Oh, they're
tall,
ones, yeah.
eh?
Yeah.
But perfect. They wouldn't drop
No.
on you. They'd be perfect.
You don't want that.
No.
Melissa says she votes for a good breakfast.
Good. Okay. Yeah, it's easier for me too. A good breakfast. It's less work. Seriously. Well, I have an idea. We can do something. I'll have to think about it, but I have a few ideas.
Not beans on toast, no?
No.
We can do better than beans on toast.
Right, so, like I said, risotto is one of those dishes that takes a long time. You're just continuously stirring.
Ty's got a bit of a comment. He says that meal prep would be great for those who are on the fly, like want to prep, say 5 things for the week or something like that.
Yeah, no, that would be good actually. Well, we may do that. I may make a normal video about that too. Alright, let's see. So when the rice, you can see that white bit in the rice, it's still white.
Okay.
In the kernel, yeah, in the center. It's not cooked yet. What? You see it? A little bit?
No, this way.
What, this way?
Chopping board.
What? Okay. Here?
There we go.
Okay. So you see, it's still white. It's still cooking. When we're a little more, then we're going to add the puree. We're going to add a few tablespoons. And actually, I forgot one thing. I forgot to saute to make the shiitakes. Yeah. Okay. Well, Jim, can you take over for a little bit?
Yeah, well. you can watch James' back.
No, that's not. Yeah, well. Okay, I have to.
That's okay.
See?
Okay, I'm just going to turn my audio on and turn James's audio off for a minute while he just does a bit of cleanup and he's going to sort out the shiitake mushrooms, yeah? But yeah, if there's any more questions, keep them coming or just let us know. Any feedback. Feedback is great. It helps us improve and make this better as we go along, and that's kind of what we want to do. Just hopefully the stream is looking good. The quality of the picture, the sound, everything is looking good for you. We're having a few little technical glitches as we go, but trying to iron them out on the fly. This is like the first time we've all done that. We've got Easy Recipes. It says hello everyone. Hello to Easy Recipes.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So, with these little mushrooms, what you can do is you get a little mushroom.
Oh, don't put your audio back on. There we go.
No, what? Audio? Yeah? Okay, so with these little mushrooms, what I like to do, is I'm just going to cut off this little stump.
Using the butt of the knife.
Yeah, well, you can use a paring knife, just a little bit. These are not the best mushrooms. They were this is all that the grocery store had that I went to yesterday. It's the end of the week, so you typically get, whatever you can. So, nice and flat, and I cleaned them as well, so they're nice and clean. I'm going to just take a few of these. Going to get the pan hot while whisking the risotto as well. Yeah, two things at once. I'm going to put a little oil in the pan.
We did have a gym cam set up early today, but like with the position we're in right now, it wasn't quite right, so we took it down at the last moment. So like in the future, we'll get gym cam.
People are asking.
Yeah.
Next time we have to.
James is a lot better to look at than me though, so that's why I put 3 cameras on him and none on me.
I know, all the pressure's on me, don't worry about it. Yeah. So right, so anyway, you're going to put the top side down first in the pan when it's hot. Come on, pan, get hot. Right, sizzle, sizzle, it's hot. Put the mushrooms in. This type of pan, you can tell that there's a little like bubble in the middle, or it's a little bump. So all the sauce will go to the sides, all the oil goes to the sides. So this is it's not necessarily the hottest part when I'm using this burner, but it's the best for the camera.
Taste test? Is it more of a consistency test than a taste test?
Let's just see how al dente it is. So,
Melissa says she always pulls her risotto probably 5 minutes too early. So nice advice on when to know, when to pull it. Yeah?
It's al dente right now. So I'm going to take a little bit of the puree that we did. I'm going to add, let's see, 3 tablespoons. Just going to mix. When it gets to the stage where it starts to, like, you can tell it's becoming al dente, this is or less al dente. This is the point that you want to add the puree. This is important because the puree, whatever puree that you'll be using, it has has butter in it. Now, on the one hand, you have some people that put the butter in the beginning because it adds flavor to it. On the other hand, when you talk to most of the chefs, that's a big no-no. So it all depends on, well, what school of thought you came from, but typically you put the butter in at the end.
Is that risotto is an Italian thing, but I guess it's a worldwide dish as well, yeah?
Oh, it's worldwide. But no, so risotto apparently, the same thing with paella. Risotto, I have to watch the mushrooms. So the risotto traditionally came over, I believe, during the Moors when they started conquering Spain, and this added a lot of influence. They brought the rice with them. And at the time, the dish supposedly developed, or risotto itself, supposedly developed in Milan, or in the region of Milan. This is the story. And it's typical, I mean, in the north they use, well, more butter, because in the south they use more olive oil. It's like Spain. In the north in the north of Spain is still like oil, but in the south of France it's more olive oil, and in the north is more butter, because not all of France is butter. Oh, I have a little bit of rice stuck in my throat. So, right, the risotto is just simmering right now. I have it on low to medium heat, and it's just simmering. And these little mushrooms, you want a little bit of color on the top. Again, when they're done, flip them real quick and then take them off the heat. And then quickly, as I didn't have it prepped, quickly into a little towel. Yep, that's it.
Esther says, que bien verte en directo. Eres un gran chef.
Oh, gracias, Esther.
And we have Alina's kitchen with us. Hi, James. Everything is looking great.
Oh, thank you. Just need to clean up a little bit. So, we have about, I think about 5 minutes before the risotto's finished, more or less.
So yeah, if you've got any questions, right now would be a good time to throw them in.
Right, so when we get to the end stage of the risotto, the last bit, the last part, I just keep checking the rice. About.
We want an online course.
I know, I need to do that.
This is about as online as you're going to get.
Right now, yeah, sadly, yes. If you have to add more stock, just add a little more stock.
That's how I like the risotto, nice and creamy right now, yeah?
Oh, it'll be creamier after the butter.
I like how the starch just really helps develop it as well.
Well, it does. Well, the starch with the butter. But this is the funny thing, is like, for me, when I first saw paella, well, I knew about paella, but when I actually came here to see how they make it, and I saw the proximity as well as of making like 1,000 risottos, thousands and thousands of risottos.
Are you guys getting a green bar on the screen when I switch like over there? 1 second. I don't know why it does that from time to time. It's weird.
No? Okay.
Alina, how does it feel not doing the cooking? It feels good not to cook. There's quite a bit of stress juggling like all the 3 cameras and all the software and all the switcher.
No, trust me, I know, yeah?
So
it's nice when you don't have to cook.
Yeah, but it's fun, it's fun.
Right, so about 3 or 4 minutes left on the risotto. Now, again, it depends on the people. When you have the risotto and it has just a little bit, that little kernel, or the center of the risotto is white, just by a little bit. It depends. Some people like the risotto maybe a little more al dente. The rice, some like it perfectly cooked. And then, of course, when it's perfectly cooked, you have to eat it like now, because otherwise it's just like, it's like the paella, it's going to overcook. This is why normally when you order a paella or you order risotto, you never order it to go like after and get a little doggy bag, at a restaurant, because it's not the same after you have to reheat it.
It just keeps cooking, really.
Well, yeah, no, it does. And once it's cooked, it's cooked. Okie dokie. Almost there. Almost there. How's everybody doing? Huh? I don't even know what time it is because I haven't really been watching. Oh, it's about an hour, no?
6:22, yeah. In Spain, at least.
Yeah, but no, about an hour.
I'm doing good.
That's too good, huh?
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah?
You were all entertained? You're all enjoying it?
Okie dokie. So,
it's been quite a nice sunny day here in Spain today. It's nice that the weather is returning to us again. So it always looks sunny where Alina is in her kitchen, yeah, in a amazing garden.
no, I thought it was Hawaii the first time I looked at it.
It's
no,
like,
seriously, because I lived in Hawaii. It looks tropical, but it's California, no? Cali? Yes, Cali. Yeah. Oh, California is sunny as well. Depending on, well, no, it is sunny. The south is sunnier than the...
Okay, Melissa's leaving us now. She has to sign off. She says, love this live, and wish I was going to get a big bite of this risotto. Thanks for thanks for dropping in and spending some time with us. I believe it's breakfast time over there still, yeah? But yeah.
No, thank you, Melissa. Take care. Have a great week.
Your dad said a great job, James.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Dad. Yeah. I'm not making risotto, though, when I come home. No, I'm serious. Huh? I like risotto, but I've made so much of it in my life, cooking, that you get to a point when, you appreciate it, you like it, but that's the limit. It's like, no more.
Alina says it's Southern California, yeah?
Yeah, Southern Cali. Oh, I have family in San Fran.
Yeah, San Francisco.
San Fran.
But that's like kind of like
In the middle.
Midwest, yeah.
Well, it's technically it's north. Well, it's central northern.
In the middle of California.
Yeah, but just, San Francisco has a microclimate to it, so when you go there, it's not necessarily warm.
Your mum says she's just added you live on her website as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And
so
my son Ty says I'll be getting Dad to replicate this when I'm over in Spain next. I don't know if I'll do it as good as James, but I'll try. And
this is the point. Sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
Alina wants to know, what will you cook when you go home?
Well, today I don't think anything because I made a lot of risotto.
Well, when you go home to the States.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been able to barbecue in like what, 2 years since the last time? No, serious. I miss barbecuing a lot because the places here, typically you don't have a balcony. You can't put a barbecue on that. It's illegal. You can't put the barbecue on the roof terrace either. So you're stuck.
One thing that we do have here in Spain, especially in this region as well, we have a thing called calçotada, which is like, so we have a vegetable called calçots, which is it's kind of like a leek.
No. Calçots are like big scallions,
yeah,
green onions.
we say leeks, yeah,
yeah. Or like a small leek.
Yeah. So what they do is in the calçotadas they will be barbecuing. I mean, they get through loads of that stuff. It's like tons and tons.
No, I used to make calçots in London. I used to have those they used to go with a duck, but typically you can have romesco salsa with it. But there's also a sauce that they use specifically for the calçots, and I haven't made that one. But it's different. I mean, I like the calçots when they're with things, but you'll see them that they're very dirty, yeah? You'll put them on the barbecue, line them right up on the fire until they are charred black. I mean, like you burn them. Then, this is the messy part, you have to clean them. And typically they dip them, literally, the end, into the sauce that they're eating. They have something to cover them, like a bib. And then they just eat the calçots. I mean, it's basically like going to one of the barbecue.
Yeah, it's like somebody eating like a load of chicken wings, yeah?
But
you have to hold them really high up and then and your fingers are so black by the end as well, yeah? But what we do get here, instead of like all the barbecues as well, there are some like public areas, and not just one just outside of Barcelona as well, where they have like barbecue areas where you can take your own meats and eat charcoal, and you can use the barbecue things outside of Barcelona. So yeah, you don't get so much in the city, but you do get some like provisions to do barbecue. But it's not the same here, no?
No, it isn't.
It's definitely not the same.
No. All right, guys. So we are literally, it's like just close enough. It's just al dente. So just to save a little bit of time, because we're going to be like, I'm going to forget. I'm going to drop a little bit of butter in now, just a little. And you're going to fold this in. Yeah? It's still cooking right now. It's still cooking. You're just going to fold the butter in and keep stirring as it starts to melt. This will add a creaminess to the risotto. Now, if you want to make it extra creamy, you're going to add some like mascarpone or a butter that has even a heavier fat content to it. And when I mean add the butter, I mean add butter. You don't, no, seriously though, when you're in the, when you're in a like English kitchen, the amount of butter that we use and cream that we use for things, even in the French kitchen, is amazing how much you go through.
What's your take on seasoning your risotto? Because like when I made it in the past, because I'm a massive fan of black pepper, yeah? So even at this stage, I'm like throwing in black pepper. Do you just like leave it right to the last minute, or what's your take on it?
Typically, I don't add black pepper though to it. Typically, no. Typically, for me, it's salt and then whatever puree that I'm going to use, or it just depends on which risotto. Because for one, the risottos that I made in London, they had to be, well, we had to go by the recipes, or the chef's recipes. So, if I were to make, say, a garlic risotto, you make the garlic puree. Oops. You make the garlic... That's okay, that's okay. You make the garlic of that flavor, and you add, say, salt to it. You may add some other seasoning. But typically with butter, with risotto, it's, well, personal preference, mostly. It depends. So hopefully you'll like this. No. No, hopefully.
I'm a bit of a pepper nut, yeah?
Yeah, no, I like pepper too.
I throw pepper in like lots of things.
Okay. Okay, well, if Jim can talk for at least one more minute, I can fix the riso a little bit.
If there's anything I can do, it's talk. The SP Asthmatic Chef said he put your live on Facebook too.
Oh, thank you.
And he said it's a perfect risotto.
Oh, thank you.
Alina said she loves San Francisco.
Mm.
And he says thanks for doing this too.
Oh,
well,
thank you for watching.
Thanks for coming by and watching. Yeah, that's great.
Another thing, if you run out of chicken stock, you can add a little bit of water. It's cheating, but you know, it's how it is.
I guess when it's this cooked, yeah, it's not going to change the flavor profile too much.
No. I mean, you know, especially if you tasted this stock that I made, it's like strong, like flavorful.
Like we said earlier, if you're enjoying the stream, smash the thumbs up button, share it, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'm sure most of you are. Ty, I don't believe you are. Subscribe to the channel. I know my mum is. So.
Mm.
And like we said earlier as well, if you have any suggestions, we've been asked to do meal prep. We've asked maybe a big breakfast or some kind of breakfast that we got there. If you've got any suggestions, what you'd like to see specifically on a future live video, please let us know.
It's funny with the.
If you want James to do a dance, well, you might have to pay for that, and then we can get him to do a jig.
I don't have my bagpipes with me. No. Because I am a piper, so I have my bagpipes, and I used to compete quite a bit. I also still have a lot of friends piping. Chris, who you're watching, yeah? We used to have a lot of fun piping at the Highland Games. So this is the hardest bit. It's like the last minute. You're always waiting for it, and.
But if anybody does do a super chat at some point, then I think James will have to dance a jig. it's like on Twitch when you can make somebody do something. If we get like enough super chats in, we'll promise that like we'll get James to dance a jig live on here.
Oh, the last minute. Come on, Rice.
And to answer the question from Ty, like a long time ago in the stream chat, yes, it does smell really, really, really good in here.
Sure.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean,
You're used to it.
Yeah, I'm used to it. No, serious. This is another thing. So when you're cooking and you go home, you have. Sorry. So when you're cooking and you go home, you smell like food. It's like all the food that's mixed together. You smell like it. Your clothes smell like it. Your hair, everything, absolutely everything. So.
Could be a good thing depending on what you've been cooking.
No,
yeah?
If
it's just mainly oil, yeah.
Yeah, well, mostly oil.
Bagpipes. Your mum says bagpipes.
Hmm.
You actually have the bagpipes here?
No. They're too loud. I think we were playing at, what was it? For a soloist, you're playing at 120 decibels
Oof.
minimum.
Wow.
And you have the 3 pipes, you have the bass, the 2 tenors. The risotto is just, last minute. Okay, so you have the 2 tenors. Then you have what's called the chanter and the blowpipe. Yeah. So, no, it's a whole thing. It's very technical. Literally half of the work for piping is maintenance.
Oh, man.
Literally half. And then the rest of it's technique. Because, after a while, you're playing at like more or less 40 psi that you have to push the bag under your arm, and then you have to play for like, Yeah, and keep blowing. So you have to use your abdomen, your diaphragm. You have to really, really practice.
Well, I think I'm one of those people that can actually appreciate, you know, we spent a lot of time up in Scotland with the family, and yeah, I love bagpipes. I know there's a lot of British people that can't stand the sound of bagpipes. I really like it. Your mum's, Alina says, James, you'll have to open a video sometime playing the bagpipes in a cool location. On top of Tibitabo, yeah?
But now here's the problem is that piping is a very, it's a skill that it's a finite skill. You have to continuously play and practice because if you don't, you lose it, seriously. The other thing is, after a while you stop, because a lot of pipers have this problem of being able to blow or fill the bag. You keep spitting in the beginning because your lips are not strong enough to, well, to stop that from happening. But no, you really have to work on your fingering and your playing, which is what we call fingering, is the technique that we play with. So I'd like to, but it'll take me a couple months to get back up to par. So
Alina, if you follow James on Facebook, you'll see that he has wore the kilt several times, yeah?
Yeah, no.
Is it a Makinson?
Huh?
Is it a Makinson tartan?
No. Makinson, no. If we were speaking about one of my, Hoth, yes, because on the Hoth side of my family, it's Scottish, Irish Scot. Okay, a little more butter. Right, so we are there. We're done.
Marcus Kitchen wants to know the big question.
Yeah.
When are you traveling again?
Yeah, I like to know that question too. Huh? That's a great question. All of us would like to know when we're traveling again. Technically, I could make a video about it, but YouTube's a little technical with, the whole thing going on. So it will be demonetized immediately if I say anything about it. But I can say is that, on the one hand, I think we're going to have extra paperwork to leave and enter Spain, I think, because the EU has said that is a requirement now. So if that's the case, well, we all have to go get the, the little, medicine, and then we have to have the little paper that tells us that we went, and et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. We'll see how this year plays out. So
your mum says she has some videos of you playing the bagpipes.
Yeah, I know. I do too. All right. So when it's at this stage, creamy. This is the stage that we're going to add the Parmesan. I have a nice block of Parm, and I'm just going to add a little bit in. Yeah. Grated is better, but if you're slicing it using a potato peeler, you can as well. It's not that important. And then what we're going to do now, going to mix this, give this a final taste, and voila, that's it. If it needs salt, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. Because the Parmesan has salt, so you don't want to make this too salty. And technically, you can add even more butter, but I don't have any more. So that's it. That was literally one block of butter. Yes. Right. All right, so more or less, this is good. If I need a little bit of cream, but a little bit of water to stretch it. The thing is with risotto, when it's hot, it's fluid. But the moment that it starts to cool, it will become like cement. And this is because you use the amount of butter, cheese, cream, everything. So it's more or less like this. That's a risotto. It should lay flat. Now we're going to plate. One moment. Let me move the cutting board. Let me move all the stuff out of the way. Yep. Okay. The plate's clean? Yes. All right. Which, the bowl?
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I need to cut some more parsley.
Michelle Adams Mackinson Super Chatter, $9.99.
I'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
The asthmatic chef said he's got to go, but it's been a great demonstration, James.
Oh, thank you. So, technically, you want to reheat the little mushrooms that you cooked, but right now it's not that important because, well, I'll reheat them later for us afterwards. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to plate. So, let's see, how do I do it? I'm right-handed. Right. No, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay. Right, so, just a quick little plating, guys. Nothing too fancy, nothing nice. And as you can tell, the risotto is starting to thicken. This is because it's starting to cool. So again, you add a little more liquid, a little more stock, and that's it. Yeah? You can shake the bowl. Oh. And this was something quick that I put together, so it's not that nice, but something, you know, just a quick little risotto. The other thing is with a mushroom risotto,
can we see the cameraman who's doing a great job?
Yeah.
If I do, I'll probably unplug it.
The thing is with
next time, Jim. Next time, I'll get a camera.
Hey. Okay. So with a mushroom risotto, you can also add a little bit of truffle, black truffle or truffle oil. That goes very well with it. Very, very well. Those two go hand in hand with each other. But this is just a little, I don't know, I'm playing around, something silly. Okay, well, I don't know, voila. All right. You know, it's funny, is that when you see plating, it doesn't look that nice, but anyway, when you see some platings of, like, you know, Tekka or any other Michelin star restaurants, they take years sometimes to come up with... Okay, so, but they take years to come up with the ideas for plating, and they put a lot of effort and time into it, and you can tell when you go to a Michelin star restaurant because it looks nice. I mean, it looks like nice. So when we have to make these YouTube videos, you know, typically you're taking less than 5 minutes to make a plating or a dish.
Would it help to heat the plate first? Keep the rice warm before you plate?
Yes, and in the professional kitchens we do heat the plates. If we were in our house, I would, but right now this oven is not the best oven. So, there you go.
Just tip it towards your camera a little bit.
One moment.
Oh yeah,
a little bit of oil. Okay. Voila. There. Easy risotto.
Just give it a little tip towards your camera.
Which one? This?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, it's moving a little bit. Okay, so more or less like this, no?
Yeah.
Can you see? Whoops. That way? No. Wait. It's the opposite.
Sure. This one as well.
No. No, that one is not good. Maybe this one. The big one. Down. The second one. Two.
I can refocus, but I think
Can you?
The first one was better. Yeah?
The only thing is you have to adjust the camera.
Yeah. Come. A little bit higher.
Yeah. Like that. Whoops.
There we go.
Like this.
That's better. It's a bit bright, but
yeah, it is a little bright. It's not the best angle.
Go back to your other one.
Which one?
That down here.
Huh?
That was the best way. If you just tip it a little bit.
Yeah, it's moving that way now. It's a little liquidy.
Oh.
Yeah, it's too dark. Oh well. Sorry guys.
We can work on the final shot camera.
No, I'll tell you what. We'll take a few photos.
One thing I can do. If you just talk to them for a second.
All right. Okay, so Jim is fixing the second camera. So what I'm going to do is I'll take a few photos on Instagram. The recipe is down below. The amounts are different because I'm cooking for more than just 2 or 3 people, and then I'll post this on Instagram as well, and then I'll also update the thumbnail as well, so you guys can see this. You're good? One sec.
If you come close to this camera as well, and then just tip it towards the camera, and hold it a bit higher.
Yeah. If I wait like maybe 20 minutes, it'll be like a rock, then I can tip it.
This
but
one should be better. That one should be better as well now.
Yeah? Whoops.
There you go.
Ah, yeah, a little better.
Let me get focus on there.
Whoops.
Oh, move.
Moved?
There we go. That's
See?
Better. There we go. That's better.
Alright. Anyway, guys, next time I'll... Anyway, guys, next time I'll try to make it a little fancier, a little nicer. But this is a nice and easy dish. Very nice and easy. And I would recommend a little bit of truffle oil or some shavings of black truffle to go with it. That would be very nice. It adds a lot of flavor to it, if you like truffle. Parmesan, a nice parmesan, adds a lot of flavor as well. A little bit of parsley, some mushrooms, some shallots, etc., etc. So if you have any last questions, guys, at all, any last questions, because now's the time before we...
I think you're making them drool. They're all saying...
Before we go, because this is going to be overcooked otherwise, and we are a little hungry today. We spent the whole day setting up, so I want to sit down and eat.
They're saying it's delicious, looks delicious, tasty, nice and creamy, looks great.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Great video today, looking so good. Alina said it was much better. We'll have to work on the final shot cam.
We're gonna have to work on it, and well, later on we can get another camera down the road. But...
And Alina says always parmesan. Yeah?
Oh yeah, I know. I love parmesan. Mm-hmm. It's very tasty. All right, so are you done, Jim?
I'm good.
That's it. All right. Thank you guys for first of all our first live video. Yeah. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying and watching and commenting and interacting. We're going to do this, or we want to do this at bi-weekly, no? If we can. So next week it'll be a normal video, and then the following week, hopefully, if everything goes well, we'll do another live cooking channel or another live cooking video. If not, it'll be a normal video, but we will continue with the live videos. This is something that both of us want to do. Like I said, Jim is a professional videographer, photographer.
Not so much today.
And I do the cooking, and then later on we can do extra things and improve and have people on cooking. Jim can cook one day as well, and we can rotate and switch. So this is the idea that we want to do. But next week, this is a big week for me. I have to stop all my YouTube, and I have to go paint. So next week's going to be a hard week for me, and then after that we have to move. And this is the only reason why I say in 2 weeks. I think we'll do it, but I'm not sure yet. So until then, though, for now, it's a yes. We're going to do it in 2 weeks. Until then, guys, thank you very much. Jim, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, just one last thing. Remember, down in the links below this video, you should have all the links to like Facebook and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And Instagram is a really good place to follow James, so you know when these live videos are going to be taking place. Again, on Facebook, we put out all the notifications. So yeah, it's like follow him on all the social medias, yeah? And then you'll know exactly when we're going to go live. Hopefully, in the next 2 weeks, we'll be back, and then the 2 weeks after that, we'll be back. So yeah, a big thank you from me too, really.
Again, guys, thank you very much. Take care, stay safe, and until then, enjoy your week.